Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Friday afternoon, July 23rd. We are looking at window traders, market profile of SPY, IWM, and triple Qs. And just a standing ovation for the Bulls as they just rip apart any sellers that remain in the universe in both not only the S&P and the NASDAQ, but guess who joined the party today? The Dow.
House of pleasure.
The Dow joins the party as all three of those indices hit an all-time high today. Russell's still spinning its wheels, and obviously the transport's lagging behind. They had hit their all-time high on May 10th, the last time the Dow did. The Russell hasn't hit its all-time high since March 15th, 4 months ago, over 4 months. So that's going to become an interesting topic as we go on. As can this market continue to make new all-time highs and continue ripping higher without the smaller caps joining in. Volume today, 57 million shares. It's going to be below average, but I talk about a checklist, and it's something I think all traders should have, and most of the people in my room use it now. I think it's a great thing. It really gives you a guide as to who's winning the day. Well, our checklist today was just a blowout for the buyers as they had gap, value, overnight high, the opening, initial balance high, one time frame it up all day except for one time frame, single prints, you name it, they had it, and we end with an outside week up both in SPY, ES, and the NASDAQ. Now, the previous two outside week ups in May, they were both in May. One failed miserably the next week, down 18 points at one point, and the other one barely was up like $2. So it remains to be seen how much we get out of this one, if anything. There's a lot of catalysts next week. We have tremendous earnings with the tech earnings. That's not so big to me. What's big to me is the Fed on Wednesday. But again, we do have catalysts. I had a good day trading. I did a lot of trading from the long side early, believe it or not. I had a straddle in A period. I took the 437 straddles at about $1.50, I believe. $1.50, $1.54. It wasn't going anywhere. It was amazing how they were getting eaten away. Well, I was holding them, and then in C period, it looked like we were going to pop the top. I held them, and I bought an additional 20 calls. And when we popped the top, well, the calls put me in the money. Believe it or not, the straddle did not at that point. And when we got right to the overnight high, I was like, I'm not sure if they're going to really want to stretch this market on a Friday. So I just took it all off, and I was even on the entire trade. Well, obviously, I made money on the calls. I lost on the straddle. Lo and behold, if I had held them, I would have absolutely done very well on all of them. But needless to say, I took them off. But I did make up for it because in C period, 437 calls, I was long. D period, 437 calls. E period, 438 calls. F period, 438 calls. So I just, any kind of pullback, and believe me, there was not much of a pullback, but any pullback we got, I played from the long side then throughout D, E, and F. And then the only other trade I took on the day, I said in K period, maybe they're going to finally stop one-time framing. It's rare we one-time frame up all day, and we got very long here. I took a very small put play, but it paid me. Paid me almost 40 cents on the when I finally got out of it in L when I took the short off. So it was a very good day. It was a good week. So let's go over destinations, and then we're going to go over all the charts for these three indices. So the only upside destination left right now is 440.30, which is today's high and is now a weekly high. So don't forget that, the intermediate time frame. For the downside, we're using H's high. That's the price probe of 440.04. 439.16, L's low, the afternoon pullback. Single prints, 438.70, F's low to C's high. They get filled at 38 cents. And then D's low of 438.26. today's high of 437.65. And then today's low of 436.79, filling the gap, which is L's high, not N, 435.72, 107-point gap. And then 436.51, that 9-wide POC from the 14th now is a downside destination. And please write all those down so we don't have to go over all of them on Monday morning again. Now, let's get to the charts. We're going to start with the Russell. Russell's having some pretty big issues, as we all know. Russell is in a 5-month balance. We're going to use 207.21 as the bottom of that balance, and that's also the high of it. That's the all-time high, and then that's the low of it. So the last 4 months have traded inside of that range from March of 21. We got down this month so far to 209.05. And I said, well, is that all they want to do? And then we go back to the opposite end of the balance, which would be the all-time high. Well, so far, I mean, that's not happening as we close at 219.52. But it's still open to see what happens as we are in balance. The weekly is down. The weekly came out of an inside week 3 weeks ago, and we've gone down. Yes, we closed inside of last week's range, but nothing will change until we take out this week's high of 222.22. So if we're able to do that next week, well, at least then the monthly would be in balance, and then the weekly would come back into balance. But for now, monthly is down, weekly is down, and the daily went from up 2 days ago to balance yesterday. Now I'm calling it down. Now they did have a nice little hammer on today's action. But again, unless we don't take out today's high, nothing changes. So monthly balance in IWM, weekly down, daily down. But it wouldn't take much to get the daily back into balance and the weekly. We'll see if they can do it next week. Triple Qs. Monthly, up. One-time framing up. 2 months now. Weekly. Finally came into balance when we took out last week's low, but we have an outside week up. But I'm still calling it balance because we took out both sides of last week. But it is powerful. Outside week up. Let's see what they can do with it next week. So monthly up, weekly balance, outside week up, daily up. 4 days, one-time framing up, healthy. And then to us, ES and SPY. We came out of an inside month, April of 2020, and have been one-time framing up. Basically, ever since. We're one-time framing up 9 months. What month did we stop one time? Wait a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There was 1 month we had to stop one-time framing down, I thought. 371.42. No, we didn't. So we're one-time framing up in the monthly now. Oh, I'm sorry. We stopped one-time framing up in September of 2020. Then we had another inside month, then we came out of it up. So we're one-time framing up 9 months. However, out of that April inside month, except for that 1 month, and then we had an inside month, we're 1, 2, 3, 4. We're one-time framing up 13 out of 15 months, including 9 in a row. Weekly, we came into balance this week. Even though we closed above last week, it's still balanced. But it's an outside week up. The last 2 failed, pretty much so. We had a miserable one back on May 10th, and then on on June 7th, we went up a little bit, but nothing spectacular. Let's see if this outside week up provides much better distance to the upside for the bulls. And then on the daily, look at this. Once again, we are from the 50-day moving average, we're up $18. One-time framing up for 4 days, gap is my main focus. Again, I really appreciate all the likes that I've been getting. Please subscribe to the channel. And for $30 a month, why not come and check us out at camelbacktrading.org. We had a really good week in the trading room. It's incredibly informational, what we provide. So come check us out. Enjoy your weekend. One other thing we were talking about, this is Monday's 30-minute bars. This is the M period from Monday. I was pointing out to the room how all we did was go up, balance, up, balance. Look at this. One time you could really say we tried to come out bear, which was yesterday at noon. I'm sorry, on the 22nd. And then since then, look at this. Up, balance. It's amazing, amazing thing. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. And we'll speak prior to the opening on Monday.